How do you recognize when a relationship is emotionally cold, especially when you're never quite sure if you've done something wrong because of mixed signals? In this episode, we are resolving Is It Me? How to recognize cold relationships. First, you need to recognize what a cold relationship looks like because mixed signals mean you'll question yourself, leaving you confused and eventually heartbroken. Cold relationships are any relationship, whether that's romantic, friendship, a work dynamic, or even family, where you feel uncomfortable or no matter what you do, you're always wrong because communication is either non existent or at best patchy. Consequently, you hold out for the best of their behavior. They're not that bad. They can be really nice sometimes. It depends what mood they're in. The list goes on. You don't want much. What you're asking for is not much. You just want mutual kindness, respect through communication when there is an issue. And most importantly, you want warmth. It's not much to ask. Have you thought about how your life would be if all relationships in your life were good ones? What difference that would make to you? Is it something that you can ever expect? Well, for starters, you wouldn't have any heart-sinking dread. You wouldn't have to brace yourself for certain situations. You could be confident that every dynamic you come across, every interaction you have, is going to be a nice one, a pleasant one, and something to look forward to rather than something that you have to prepare yourself for. So we're going to look at the early signs a relationship is cold, why people are cold, and steps you can take to stop attracting cold dynamics so that you can stop worrying that it's you. So, what are the early signs a relationship is rather chilly? It's cold. Early signs, some of those early signs include a lack of responsibility. So, they haven't done something they said they would. Okay, they haven't done something they said they would. So, you're meant to suck it up. Okay, and there's no sign of an apology. So they've clearly said, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then they haven't done it, and then you think, oh, am I going to get some kind of, oh my gosh, I'm really sorry I haven't done that? Nope, it's just completely ignored and there's no sign of an apology. Okay, that's a sign of cold. In fact, they may pretend it was never even an issue. Transactions with the person, generally, even at the early stages, start off a little bit tinged. Those kind of feelings where you think, is that out of order? I'm not really quite sure. I'm not sure. It's just a little bit of a that goes on for you. They say things that grind just a little. And you then worry, you think, oh, do you know what? I'm just too sensitive. I don't really mean it. I'm just too sensitive about it. They demand rather than start a conversation that ends with an agreement. So instead of saying, well, let's have a discussion about something, it starts off as a demand. It's, well, we're going to do this. That's all right with you, isn't it? Oh, that's official. You think, hang on a second. Did we actually agree on that somewhere? No, I don't remember discussion. Oh, well, we had a discussion about it. No, we didn't. I don't remember that discussion. You decided that, and you then decided I would want that. The demand will be something expected of you, and it will feel like a pressure. As an intuitive sensitive, that's easy to fall into, okay, because you're an eager beaver. You want to please, and you hate confrontation. And of course, the big one, the big one, which is the silent treatment. They'll not communicate they don't like your decision. They'll wait for you to give in. And they'll wait for you to give in through silence. So why are people cold? Okay, why are some people cold in their approach and in their interaction with you? People are cold when you lack a boundary. They themselves, to be cold, will have a self-esteem issue. But admitting they're worried themselves about being hurt, not something they want to do. It's easier for them just to be cold to others. And it's really easy to be cold to another person if the other person has no boundary. If you've been used to it, for you, as an example, if you've been used to a cold style of interaction, perhaps from early life, you'll assume, even though they're painful, even though those cold interactions are painful, cold relationships are normal. It's normal, isn't it? It's normal, isn't it, that people are cold? That's how you see things. So what are steps you can take to stop attracting cold dynamics? What are some steps you could take to stop attracting cold dynamics? The key is to stop assuming others' cold behavior is you. Okay? What I found I got sucked into for a long time was analyzing. Okay? Analyzing. When you keep analyzing what you did wrong, you end up obsessed with trying to fix yourself so that you're loved. It doesn't work because you're assuming you have to fall into something acceptable to be lovable. Yet the goalposts of what makes you acceptable, therefore lovable, will always be changing with someone who is cold in relationships. So what are little things? These are really, three little things that you can do to minimize you getting caught in believing cold behavior in others is somehow your fault. What are three little things to do? Well, the first one is look through their eyes. Okay? You'll see their self-esteem issue. If you look out through their eyes, if you imagine yourself and think, gosh, what's going on here? Instead of making it about you, I've done something wrong. I must be a terrible person. I. Therefore, I have to take responsibility for all this. No. Look out through their eyes. Okay? Just imagine yourself, you're perfectly capable of doing it, looking out through their eyes. Look out through their eyes and you'll see their own self-esteem issue. You can then feel compassion for it and then realize that it's not you. You can think, oh gosh, I can feel that's the reason why. Oh gosh, actually, it's got nothing to do with me. That's their thing. Okay? That releases you from any potential of over-analyzing. Second thing is nip it in the bud. Okay? Nip it in the bud. Take a deep breath and call out the behavior. And call it out by saying, hey, I don't appreciate the silent treatment. If you've got something to say, let's have a conversation. Okay, it becomes a boundary. That becomes a boundary, which is to say, hey, I'm not going to respond to the silent treatment. And I'm calling it out. And you'd be amazed how people who use cold dynamics as a ways and means of interaction in relationships, when you call them out, sometimes they're really quite shocked. No one's ever called them out. And you call them out and they go, oh, okay, maybe I have to behave differently. Or they think, wow, that's not a person to mess with. They're going to call me out on that. They're not going to let me get away with it. Okay? And the third thing is, don't be afraid to let it go. Okay? If you don't have to, and one of the big things for intuitive sensitives is that we're hideously loyal. And sometimes, in ways that we shouldn't be. Sometimes it's actually, the right thing to do is to let something go. So the third key thing is, don't be afraid to let it go. If you can let something go, it's a boundary. That's accepting the way something is. But doesn't mean to say, and accepting something the way it is means you don't have to fix it, but you don't have to be part of it. And that becomes a boundary. It's like, okay, that's the way that is, but it's not really my thing. Okay? So the third thing is, don't be afraid to let it go. It's a boundary. It will take a few goes, but you'll feel a release around that. Okay? Or would you like me to do some of that thinking for you, some of that action for you, so you're not having to do it all yourself? Might be a good idea. And you do that with the meditation accompanying this episode, which fast tracks the release of the hurt cold relationships create. So give the meditation, releasing cold relationships meditation, a go, because you don't make logical decisions around cold relationships. Okay? You make decisions based on unconscious beliefs, which have often been stored in the body for years. As Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This meditation will help you undo those unconscious beliefs by releasing the energy stored in your body around cold relationships. Even if you've never done a meditation before, it's fine. Just follow the words. You have time. There is always time for something this important. And now you focused on releasing cold relationships. The issue is recognizing your own feelings. Recognize them in somebody else, but recognizing your own feelings. Because when you've been on the receiving end of coldness, it's easy to slip into it yourself. So guess what the next episode is? It addresses secure versus insecure feelings. So make sure you set a reminder now to join me for the next episode, which I will release as usual on Saturday at 4 p.m. UK time. And I will be in the comments for an hour or so from 4:30, answering your questions. Share this episode if you know someone who struggles with cold relationships, been around those, or you suspect that they would find this incredibly helpful, because they would be very pleased that you did. There would be something helpful in it for them. So go now and download the free meditation, Releasing Cold Relationships, from heidisawyer.com/4, as in number 4. You don't have to write it. heidisawyer.com/4, the number 4. Do it now, because then you're not allowing the limitation of having to do things perfectly getting in your way. We believe your capacity for empathy gives you a unique perspective. The way we help you access your uniqueness is through developing your intuition, your inner world. When you allow yourself this part of you, life is easy. So go now and listen to the powerful meditation. You never know, it may change your life. And always remember this: your sensitivity is your greatest asset. Until next time, bye for now.